Greetings, Poke fans! Michael here, and today's video is going to be my Pokemon horror stories. Now, this is a video that's going to be pretty similar to the My Pokemon Teens video I did a couple weeks ago, where essentially I'm just going to be hanging out here and telling you some stories from my Pokemon past. But this time, instead of my teams from past games, which I thought were really cool and awesome, I'm going to be telling you guys some stories that weren't so great for me. So, my Pokemon horror stories are just going to be things that have happened while I've been playing Pokemon that were bad and pretty, hopefully, amusing for you. Some of these things actually happened on camera in the channel that you may have seen before, but several of them have not, and I'm going to be talking about 5 of them. Thankfully, I don't have a whole lot more than 5. But essentially, I'm just going to talk through them and tell you guys some of the terrible things that have happened to me, and hopefully you can identify with me and empathize with me, because I want you to let me know in the comments below what some of your Pokemon horror stories were. And if you're not exactly sure what some examples will be, maybe you'll get some ideas as I go further into the video. But anyways, the first one I will start off with is the story of the first ever shiny Pokemon I encountered. It was in my original Ruby playthrough with Sceptile the Blade, pretty much the only member of my team that I used. And in the grass patch just north of Slateport City, I don't remember what the route is, but it's the one with the cycling road, I encountered a blue Electrike, blue and yellow Electrike. And at the time I didn't really know what shiny Pokemon were, but I knew that's different. I should try and catch this. I don't know what this is. And so I did attempt to catch it. However, I ran out of Pokeballs. I only had like 10 on me, and I ran out attempting to catch it, and so therefore was forced to knock it out, which was very sad, but it wasn't that upsetting at the time because I didn't really fully understand what shiny Pokemon were, so it wasn't like, I didn't realize like how rare it was, but looking back on it, I'm just like, oh, that sucks. However, a happier aspect of that story is that since then I have never lost a shiny. A shiny that I have encountered, I have not knocked it out, or ran out of Pokeballs, or anything like that. So, fortunately, I have not had bad luck like that in a very long time. So, the next horror story is from my first Nuzlocke, Pokemon Platinum, that I did last year, throughout a lot of the summer and a little bit into the fall, was when Robin the Golbat died. Robin the Golbat was a Pokemon I was very excited to get to be a Crobat, and it died against a gym trainer in Fantina's gym. I'll just play the clip for you right now. Ooh, I don't like that. So as you noticed from that video, I was speeding up because I was playing on a ROM, and I did not notice the special defense drop from the Haunter's Shadow Ball, and Robin fainted, therefore dying. Obviously, that was a very traumatic experience for me, only the second death ever I've had in a Nuzlocke. So it's still very new to me, and I was really excited to get it to a Crobat because I love Crobat, and and then having it die was just very upsetting. But what really made it bad was, in that video you notice that I leave the room. I never come back to the video and just have like 10 minutes of just nothing. Like it's just stuck on that screen. I'm not in the chair. The only thing that happens is like Jubilee like walking across the camera at some time, like and saying to the camera like, I don't know where he is, he's gone. So the reason I did that is because for one, I was so upset I did not want to continue playing the game. But also, the reason I left that in there is because there was 2 reasons. One, the bigger reason was I didn't want to like have a shorter episode and spoil it, so I left that time in there so like people wouldn't like know what to expect or when to expect the death. I mean, you can infer that there's a death because I put that in the thumbnail, but they wouldn't know when it would happen. And also, I just thought me leaving and never coming back would be funny. Just like that's an amusing reaction no one's ever really done before. some people, and probably a lot of you because you're still subscribed to me, did indeed think it was funny. A lot of people were very, very mad about it. I made the mistake of responding to some comments, and it got very, very cancerous in the comment section, and so that is the only video I have ever disabled comments on. It was just some people unsubscribed, like, were very, very mad about the whole, like, half the video didn't have any content type thing. So, while some of you thought that was funny, I am never doing that again. Learned my lesson for that video. So that was a bad experience, because one, I lost Robin, but also, like, the reaction to the video was very, very bad. So, I'll never do that again. The next story, speaking of Platinum, I actually lost my original Platinum version, the little card. I told this story in my Pokemon Teams video, but in case you missed that, my first Gen 4 game was Diamond, and then I had Platinum, and I beat Platinum. Diamond I completed the National Pokedex on, it was my primary version, and when I did that, I was like, okay, there's not really anything else I want to do on here. I'm going to transfer the Pokemon that I want to keep onto my Platinum, and then restart Diamond, just to play through it again for fun. Well, after I did that, like transfer my original cool team of Torterra, Staraptor, Luxray, Dialga, Lucario, and Floatzel, transferred that team that I loved very much onto my Platinum, and then I lost my Platinum. I still have no idea where it went. I think I might have, like, lost it in the course of a move from, you know, Houston to Midland. I don't know. It was gone. And so that was a sad story because I lost all of my old Pokemon that were on there. Thankfully, I did not lose any shiny Pokemon, I think. But I lost that, so that was unfortunate, but not the worst thing ever. I got a new Platinum and played through it, and that was fun. But that was the end of that team, sadly enough. But anyways, the next horror story is a fairly recent one. It actually happened with Sun. This is something if you watched my Let's Play of it, you saw a large portion of this story, but you didn't see what happened afterward. I talked about it in the next video. But if you remember from Pokemon Sun and Moon, the ending cutscenes are obscenely long. After you beat the Pokemon League, it's like 20 minutes. So my, like, finale, I was expecting, you know, I saved right before, after I had beaten 2 of the Elite Four members. So I beat the 2 Elite Four members, beat the champion, and then, like, get stuck in this cutscene stuff and, like, activities and catching Tapu Koko for a long time, so the episode went really long. And that was frustrating for me, because I was like, okay, it's late, I want to stop. This is too much all at once, you know? And at the same time, Jubilee is sitting right over there in my bed, trying to do the same thing at the same time, and she had lost. She lost in the champion battle because she forgot to bring potions, and so she couldn't heal her Pokemon. So she was super frustrated about that.
Oh god, no. Oh god, I can't. I'm gonna throw up.
What? Jubilee's champion battle is not going as well as mine. And I'm sitting here, like, feeling bad because she has to, like, sit through this while I'm doing this. So we both just, like, really, really want it to end. And it finally ended. And it got to the end screen. And I thought, okay, it had to have auto-saved after, you know, like, I won the battle. Like, this is obscenely long. There's no way they would make this go this long without saving. Well, I was wrong. Ha 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 ha. No, it wasn't funny. I frickin', like, turned off my game when it got to the end screen. I never hit A, so it didn't save. So the next time I turned on my Sun, which was about 10 minutes later because I realized, I don't know if that's saved, and I turned it on and saw that I was back to where I was. Like, I still had 2 Elite Four members and the champion to beat and to sit through all of that to do again. Oh god, that was a rough night. I was like, I cannot believe I have to sit through all of this again. So that was bad. I essentially, like, you know, I did beat it again. Very similar things happened. You know, I didn't film it, obviously. So I'm still counting the original run as how it actually happened. But that was a terrible experience having to do that again. like right, and just like wanting it to end, like, oh, it's finally over, and then suddenly, boom, I have to do it again. That was rough. But anyways, the final story that I have on here, actually, before I get to that, I wanted to do some honorable mentions. This isn't really a top 5, but I wanted to mention a couple that I thought of that are not, they're not long enough to warrant their own thing, but I can just mention them really quick. One of them is in the battle tree. Recently, I lost a battle because I used my Toxapex to poison a Breloom that I thought had Technician, and it had Poison Heal. So, just so you're aware, Pokemon in the battle tree, their abilities are, like, random, of, like, their possible ones. Didn't know that at the time, so I thought, oh, it doesn't have a Toxic Orb, it probably has Technician. And then just, like, getting into, like, red health with a hit, and I'm like, oh, yes, I can knock it out, and then suddenly Poison Heal, and it goes back up, and I'm like, no. So that was really terrible. And then the other honorable mention one that wasn't like a huge deal, but when I was playing through Yellow on my 3DS, I got stuck in a battle against a Bellsprout where it wrapped me and like put me to sleep. So I was in that battle for a solid like 15 minutes because I like just never got to attack. That was a terrible, annoying thing. But not really a horror story, it was just a terrible thing I had to go through. But anyways, the final horror story that I'm going to tell you about was my experience in the GBA, the Global Battle Association. There's probably not a whole lot of you that know about this because this was over a year ago. It was like September, October of 2015. So the fall of my junior year, where I had substantially fewer subscribers. And also the videos didn't get very many views. But essentially, for those of you who aren't aware, the GBA, the Global Battle Association, is a Pokemon competitive battling league that is draft format. For those of you who don't know, there are several competitive leagues out there where at the beginning of the season, there's a draft for Pokemon. And you have like a set team of like, you know, it varies depending on the league and the rules and stuff. The GBA was 11. You had 11 Pokemon that only you could use. So no two teams had the same Pokemon. It was a really, really interesting concept. And then each person has their own team that's a Pokemon pun on a real-life sports team. A lot of times. Sometimes they're just like, you know, made-up sports teams. But for example, my team was the Houston Gastros. Named after the Houston Astros and Gastrodon. And so, there's the main GBA, which has sizable Pokemon YouTubers like A-Drive. Shady Penguin used to be in it, but he has since retired from that. And several others. But anyways, I discovered that. I discovered the GBA through Shady Penguin's channel. And I thought it was really, really cool concept. You know, I wanted to make my own team. And so I found out that they were doing the D League, which is like the developmental league, which is like supposedly smaller channels, you know, like just essentially like a subset of the GBA type thing, like a one-time shot. And I was thinking, oh, I want to do this. Like, I think it'll be cool. Like, you know, maybe I can do well. Maybe I'll get brought up to the bigger GBA and, you know, be among those, like, you know, cool people. So I signed up. I was accepted. You know, there was a lot of talk about how, like, I didn't have as much competitive experience as everybody else, which was apparent. but I felt good. I had a guy who was, like, mentoring me and, like, teaching me stuff. And I had really, really high hopes, and then it went horrendously. I consider the GBA my worst experience in YouTube ever. Because, for one, it was a bigger time commitment than I thought it was going to be. And with a super busy semester of, like, applying for jobs and doing other YouTube stuff, and, like, it was just, it's the busiest I've ever been, was the beginning of my junior year. I also, the guy who was mentoring me flaked out. I'm not gonna name names, because I'm still salty about this, but he just, like, stopped helping me completely and, like, ignored my stuff around, like, week 3. So, that was really frustrating. So, I was essentially left with a team that I didn't fully understand how to use, and the person who helped me draft was not there to help me. So it was a very, very bad experience because I also lost a lot. It started with week 1. I barely, like, his last Pokemon had, like, minimal HP against the guy who was, like, the favorite to win it all. So that was actually a positive experience because I was expecting to get blown out. And I was like, and then that happened and I was like, oh, maybe I can, you know, maybe I can win this. And then the next week, I lost because my sock that I nicknamed Haynes, I was choice scarfed and started to sweep his team at the end, and then I ran out of Stone Edge PP, and I struggled myself to death. So that sucked. Then week 3, I actually won, which I felt great again, you know, like it was a roller coaster. But then after that, things just, it was just terrible. I lost my help, so I had people like cramming to like, you know, I like begging people to help me. I didn't know what I was doing. I was losing. My week 6 match, I think, was the worst because I lost due to some hacks with like the opponent. He had a Salamence that was confused, and he never hurt himself, and he got a critical hit with Outrage. Like, it was a terrible, terrible experience. And so I was essentially eliminated from the playoffs in like week 6. And then, you know, screwed around week 7, and then, like, did completely ridiculous sets in week 8. So it was a terrible experience, and is the reason why I don't do competitive battling on this channel, and don't do competitive battling anymore at all. The only competitive battling I do is the battle tree, and even that's still pissing me off. So, I'm glad I did it, because, for one, it led me to make one of my closest friends in the YouTube community that I never would have met otherwise, John, aka Pokemon. He's been in a couple of my videos, and he and I are very good friends, and it helped me realize that this is something that I just don't want to do, because I probably would, if I'd never done it, I'd still be like, oh, what if I join this and stuff like that, but I would never do it again. You know, if you want to watch my very upset and distraught reactions, the videos are still on the channel, but you'll have to do some digging. So essentially, that's the worst experience I've had in my YouTube career, and I hope I never have another experience like it. So those, I guess, those is the correct pronoun. Those were my Pokemon horror stories. I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, these were bad things, but I like to be able, I think it's good now that I can look back on them and, you know, kind of laugh about it, you know, like when Robin's death and like the whole comment section blow up, that was a terrible, terrible day, but now I can look back on it and be like, alright, you know, people defended me, I learned my lesson, that kind of thing. And so, you know, we've all probably had horror stories, and I, you know, try to do a good job of moving on from them and, you know, telling them to kind of laugh at them. So that's kind of the point of this video, is so you guys can, you know, laugh and, you know, empathize with the bad things that I have happened. So, like I said before, I want you guys to comment down below some of the horror stories you've had from Pokemon, so we can all, you know, kind of like laugh at them and, you know, be like, oh, that kind of sucked, but, you know, we move on, because after all, Pokemon is an awesome thing, but it's still just a game. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and if you have made it this far in this video, you probably like to hear me talk, so I suggest subscribing, because I make a whole lot of kinds of videos, both like this, top 10s, let's plays, the Pokemon Talk series, which you should check out, that's a big hit. But anyways, that is all I have for this video, so thank you so much for watching if you watched it all the way through, and I'm gonna get out of here. So until next time, fans, gotta catch them all!